recording. I'm going to start this recording. Noise gate is off. We're on your clap.
Oh, excuse me. Oh, that felt good. All right, here we go. In 3, 2, 1.
Anchor's up. Sails at full. Welcome to the SlooPicks. Starting today, Kyle.
Doing pretty well, Jared. Doing pretty well. How are you doing today, good sir? And change
What?
the signage. You got to change your signage, Jared. We're done with that recording. We are week 7 of our SlooPicks here, Jared. Week 7.
Yes.
Week
Week 7
indeed. Much better. Much better.
I didn't change the Tuesday episode until like 2/3 of the way through the episode. So anytime anyone can help me out on actually remembering to do that is always appreciated.
All right. So typically we pick 6 games plus the Ohio State game, but Ohio State is on a bye week. So we will pick 7 games. We'll pick 7 games for week 7 here. A lot of great games, top 25 matchups here. But yeah, let's get right into it with the big noon special on Fox. Penn State and Michigan. Penn State ranked number 10, Michigan ranked number 5. And in this game, they have the Wolverines a 7.5 point favorite. I think this is one thing that we talked about, Jared. Both teams haven't really played anybody. I know that the win over Auburn seemed like it was a good win for Penn State. It's like, yeah, on the road in SEC, great win there. And then come to find out, Auburn sucks. But
we
look
knew
at the other side.
Time out.
But
we knew that,
but
though.
you can look at the other side of that, though, Jared, and be like, it's tough playing on the road in the SEC. So,
I've been hearing that. That like it doesn't matter who, it's just because it's at the SEC and it's on the road that it's tough. I also hear that it's hard to play home games in the SEC. I've also heard that.
So maybe Penn
12
State
to 6, all field goals. Depends on who's better will win.
Maybe Penn State has the advantage here because they played in an SEC environment here, Jared.
And by the way, we know that Buckeye Zach in the chat. Buckeye Zach in the chat. That almost rhymes. It doesn't, though. I'm not as happy as I thought I was. He's picking Penn State because he says even if Penn State were to win 12-6, then they don't cover. Or excuse me, Michigan were to win 12-6, that they don't cover. So we don't have a guest picker lined up, but Zach's here. So there you go. That's his prediction. Feel free to change that later if you want to. I'm just messing with you. Yeah, I'm not impressed by Michigan. They win over Indiana 31-10, but they ran that up late. It was tied at halftime. That being said, I never really thought Indiana ever looked like they were going to win. They beat Iowa 27-14, and listen, I don't know how you're going to be Michigan and act like you got this big bad defense and then give up 2 touchdowns to Iowa. Come on now.
Yeah,
I'm not impressed with either of these teams, though. I think by save everyone a lot of time, I'm just going to say I'm not impressed with either of these teams.
Okay. Well, I will. So who are you picking, though, Jared? Who are you picking?
I'm going to be picking Penn State. 7.5 kind of feels like the perfect number for Vegas anyway, because I think if it were 6.5, I would take Michigan. So while I expect Michigan to win this game, I think winning by a full touchdown might be a little too much to expect. In a game where the over-under is only set at 51, so what we're looking at like a 27-20, 21-28 sort of football game here. I'm going to go with Penn State. I don't think they win. But if it were 6.5, I would take Michigan. But at 7.5, I'm going to take Penn State.
Yeah, I'll take Penn State here. I think it's going to be a close game here, and if you're giving Michigan over a touchdown, for the 7.5 point favorite here, yeah, I'll take Penn State to at least cover.
At most cover. I don't think they win that game.
All right. So that's our only noon game that we're picking here. So we got a bunch of 3:30s. 3:30s is the meat. It is the meat of this weekend here.
Yeah, we don't normally know this far ahead that this is our social screen window for the week, because there's no there's no set schedule for it, at least more than a week in advance. So, but yeah, we're doing. So if you've ever thought about joining the Discord server and you want to know what it's like to hang out with us while we watch a football game, we'll be doing the 3:30 window in the social screen this week.
Yeah, no, absolutely. All right. So the first 3:30 game here, Jared, probably the biggest game potentially for the week. It's Alabama and Tennessee.
Okay, not the tab I had opened. I was about to call you out. I was like, what the hell are you talking about? Okay, yeah.
Alabama and Tennessee. Alabama on the road to Tennessee. But similar to like Michigan, Alabama is a 7.5 point favorite. And I'm going exactly the same way that I did with Michigan and Penn State. Over a touchdown here. Alabama still questionable. Is Bryce Young going to come back? Is he not? Is he going to be 100% if he's going to be playing? Nobody really knows. And Hooker is playing tremendous right now. Is he the real deal here? We're going to find out here. Is Tennessee the real deal? We're going to find out here. But from what I've seen so far this year, I really like what I see from this Tennessee quarterback here. So that's the one thing that Texas A&M needed at the end of the game to beat Alabama. And I think Tennessee may have that here. So I'll take Tennessee to at least cover and potentially win out in this game.
Yeah, I think Tennessee has a real opportunity for an upset here. I'll tell you this much, looking at this, Kyle, just is shot in the dark here. Over under currently at 65.5.
Under.
I'm going over. I'm going all sorts of over on that number.
Way under.
All sorts of over on that number.
Going way under, Jared.
Okay.
All right, another 3:30 game.
I didn't do it yet. Like Kyle said, this kind of feels like the Penn State and Michigan game with that number at 7.5. Once again, I think that's a perfect number. Like Kyle said, if you just change it up a tad, if you take it down to 6.5, I'd probably pick Bama. I might pick Bama, but at 7.5, I feel like that's the line to push me to Tennessee. And like I said, I think Tennessee has a real opportunity to win this game, but doesn't mean that they will. But I think it'll be tight regardless. I think it's going to be a great game. I think it's going to be a tight game. I think it's going to be a competitive game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Absolutely. All right. Next game here we have. We're going to the ACC country, and you look at these teams here, and you're like, Jared, what kind of pick is this, Jared? But then you realize, one team is undefeated and the other team is 5-1, and you're like, okay, all right, now I understand here. We're talking about NC State and Syracuse.
All right. Would it surprise you to find out that the team with the loss is actually the higher ranked team?
Yeah. And the lower ranked team is favored in this game by 3.5 points of Syracuse.
Yeah. Syracuse.
I don't know the Syracuse team, Jared. I don't know who the Syracuse team is.
They're a team that has defeated, in this order, Louisville, UConn,
Mhm.
Purdue,
Okay.
Virginia, and Wagner.
Yeah, Wagner.
By the way, the Purdue, for the
Wagner
record, the Purdue
Seahawks.
game was close. It was only a 3-point difference. I take Tennessee on the spread, winner, and a toss-up.
Yeah.
Winner is a toss-up. Yeah, it's sort of the whole Jared take the underdog sort of thing. I got you, Zach. NC State, while yes, they lost to Clemson, they also beat Florida State. And Florida State is Florida State this year. But they also beat Texas Tech, which at the time didn't feel like much of an achievement, but Texas Tech is at least a lot better than we thought.
Yeah. The big thing with NC State is we don't know if Leary's coming back. He's still hurt. The coach didn't give any kind of insight about when he's coming back this season. So, and he said he's super tough. He could be back this week, or it could be in 6 weeks. I don't know yet. So that tells me he's not playing this week. I don't think he's going to play. So that could be a big part of why Syracuse is favored in this game here. But man, I just don't really know Syracuse, and I'm just going to pick NC State because I know their defense, especially the defensive line, is the real deal here. I saw a stat against Florida State. NC State hit the ball carrier for Florida State at or behind the line of scrimmage over 80% of all the snaps.
Wow.
At or behind the line of scrimmage. So I'm picking I know one of your rules, Jared, is when in doubt, pick the quarterback. Well, in this one, when in doubt, pick the defensive line. So I'm going to pick NC State here to cover.
I'm going to pick NC State as well. As one of my other when in doubts is when in doubt, pick the underdog. And quite frankly, I think NC State wins this game. I think NC State wins this. I mean, I get like, if Leary doesn't play, that's obviously a huge deal. Understood. But I'm not willing to crown Syracuse. And I don't know why everyone else is. Their best win is 3 points over Purdue. That's their best win. 3 points over Purdue. I'd be more proud of a 30-10 loss to Clemson than I would a 3-point win over Purdue.
Yep.
Yeah, you're going to give me points to take NC State. I'm taking NC State. I'd take NC State up minus 3.5.
All right, in our third 3:30 game here, Jared, we're going Big 12 here. I don't know what the over under is for a point total for the game, but whatever it is, take the over. It is Oklahoma State and TCU. TCU is a 3.5 point favorite in this game. What is the point total in this game, Jared?
68.5. Not as
Give
high
me
as
the
you
over. Give me 69.
Let's see. Points per game, they would score around 92. But points allowed per game, it would be about 48 or 49, 48, 49.
But you look at the passes allowed by each of the team here. Oh boy. Hold on to your seats here. It's going to be a pass happy game here.
Honestly, by modern college football standards, 300 and 268, Oklahoma State and TCU in that order. I don't think those are ridiculous, are they? In the Big 12 in college football, it's not good, but also it's just kind of what you expect at this point.
Yeah.
TCU has, I would say, played to this point I was going to say better. But I mean, just like we know they're the ones that told us who Oklahoma was when they just ran Oklahoma off the field. They recently just beat Kansas, and say what you want to say. Kansas was ranked. It's a much better team than we've seen from Kansas in the past.
Yeah.
Oklahoma State has victories over Baylor, Texas Tech, which again is like a team that was probably better than we realized. Arizona State, and that was Arizona State before Gundy's the Oklahoma State coach, before Herm Edwards was fired. And Kyle, also famously, a pair of teams that you and I had a lengthy argument about on the Tuesday episode. And since I went to bat so hard for TCU in that episode, what choice do I have but to pick them to win and cover?
Yeah, so like you mentioned, TCU last week beat Hold on, is this true? Hold on, let me pull them up. No, it's not. Never mind. So yeah, they beat Kansas last week. TCU beat Kansas last week. Gave Kansas their first loss of the season, and they're going to do the same thing here against Oklahoma State. Going to give the Cowboys their first loss of the season. And I do think they will cover here because 3.5 points, yeah, they could win by a field goal, but more than likely it's going to be like a touchdown or more. I would say a touchdown that they'll beat Oklahoma State. So I will pick the Horned Frogs in this game.
All right. Who we got next?
All right. So we got a trio of night games. So we will start with Clemson and Florida State. Florida State made it a close one to NC State last weekend, and Clemson decided to start playing offense in the second half against Boston College here.
As they do.
As they do. And they did that against NC State the weekend before that. You think they're going to make this 3 games in a row? Maybe. I think Florida State has actually probably an underrated defense from what we thought Florida State was going to be at the beginning of the year here. So I think it will be relatively close, but like in Clemson fashion, I think talent's just going to take over. So I'll take Clemson to cover on the road, the 4.5 points.
You know what's fun with this particular matchup, Kyle? We already have, like it's too early in the year to be this spoiled. We already have 3 like opponents. We have 3 like opponents between Clemson and Florida State.
We do.
They have all 3 they have both played Boston College, NC State, and Wake Forest.
Mm-hmm.
Both teams beat Boston College in decisive ways. We can say it like that. Both of these teams played NC State. Clemson beats NC State by 10 points. Florida State lost by 2. And Wake Forest, Florida State lost by 10. I almost said 11, 10. And Clemson beat Clemson beat Wake in 2 overtimes. I looking at how these games match up, and by the way, they've both played them all in the last 3 weeks too. So these are relatively the same teams that each team played. It just looks like Clemson is playing the same opponents better. It is probably worth noting as I continue to sort of check over this. Kyle, here's another fun statistical anomaly.
All right.
Of those 3 games, neither Clemson and Florida State don't have any matching locations.
That is funny.
Yeah. Clemson went on the road to Boston College, on the road to Wake, and hosted NC State, and Florida State's just the exact opposite of that.
That's funny.
So yeah, it's I just see Clemson playing these like opponents better. That's it. 3.5 is fine. If this were 7.5, I would be a little more worried. If it were 2.5, I would have stopped talking 5 minutes ago. But at 3.5, this deserved a little bit deeper of an analysis. And I have to sort of convince myself to take the favorite most days. Because like I like to say, when in doubt, take the underdog. I don't feel like this is doubt here. I don't feel any doubt here.
All right. All right. And the next game here on 7:30 on the SEC network. So we're not going to be watching this one, but it is a top 25 matchup here.
I have the SEC network.
With the Bulldogs of Mississippi State taking on Kentucky. I think Kentucky had that great start of the year. They were like, "Hey, look at us, guys! Hey, we're highly ranked. Hey, we're close to the top 10 here. We're a really good team," and they just kind of crap the bed after that. So yeah, Kentucky's lost their past 2 games, especially their last game against that really bad South Carolina team here. Not a good look here. While Mississippi State's actually looking pretty good here. They convincingly beat Texas A&M and just absolutely destroyed Arkansas the previous week. So Mississippi State favored by 6.5 here. Man, if this was even 10.5, I'd probably still take Mississippi State. I think Mississippi State's just going to completely just completely destroy Kentucky in this game.
Here's the problem I'm having. I take a look at this and like the Mississippi State wins on the surface feel better. They destroyed Texas A&M. They destroyed Arkansas. But neither of these teams, I don't think either of these teams are as nearly as good as we thought they were. So it feels, those look better on the resume just as a quick impulse. But then you look at the Kentucky resume and I'm not seeing anything better. They beat Florida and everyone was real high on them after they beat Florida before we all just sort of collectively realized that Florida wasn't all that good. Then they beat Youngstown State and Northern Illinois. Congratulations. And after that, the first 2 teams that they, good win against Florida, play a couple cupcakes, turn around, start playing in the SEC again, and they dropped both of those games. And Ole Miss is pretty good. South Carolina isn't. You don't go and lose to South Carolina. So while Kentucky's game schedule is bad and Mississippi State's schedule is probably better, it's absolutely better. By the way, it's absolutely better.
So who do you got?
Kyle's like, shut up and pick.
Who do you got, man?
It's a podcast. Sometimes you have to talk on a podcast, Kyle. I'm not sure if you realize that.
Not after 7 years, Jared.
No, not after 7 years. I'm going to go Mississippi State here. I don't think Kentucky has any business being ranked. How are they still ranked, Kyle? Please answer. Please answer.
You know the answer, Jared. You know the answer.
But I'm asking
you. So
you
does everybody else listening to this. Everybody else knows why.
But I asked
they
you.
Are ranked.
But I asked you. I didn't ask them. I didn't ask myself. I asked. Kyle's in our own chat answering the question. SEC.
Because they are in the
SEC. You know where they don't chant SEC? Alabama. Because they're too busy.
They're like the only ones that don't.
I wonder why. I wonder why. All right, Kyle, what's the next game?
All right. And our last game here is USC and Utah. USC coming in ranked 7th, Utah 20th. And just double checking here. And yeah, Utah is a 4.5 point favorite at home.
4.5 point favorite while being ranked 13 spots lower and having 2 losses versus USC's 0. Interesting.
It's kind of funny. You're looking at the stats here for both teams. Points per game, USC 40.2, Utah 40.3.
Austin, did you hear us talking about USC? Like
points per game or allowed points per game, USC 18.7 and Utah 19. Very, very identical here. And then offensive yards, very, very similar. Defense, a little bit of separation, but still kind of close. I don't know. I think this is the kind of game that I think you let Caleb Williams do his thing here, and he's going to be the difference maker in this game. So I'll pick USC to probably win this game here.
Austin says key stat, USC is 106th in yards per rush allowed. And Utah rushes 39 times a game. Just so Austin,
Utah is not that much better.
Yeah, it's what is it? It's 152 to 136. I decided to not try and do the math. And as far rushing yards, Utah's averaging 201.4, 173 against, and USC 183 for and 198 against.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll still stick with my pick. I just think the talent will overcome the will make the difference here. So I'll still stick with the Trojans. Well, recruiting wise, yes, Utah probably has the better talent, but USC in the portal got the better players.
Yeah. This is in Utah, which is another thing that absolutely helps. Y'all love riding USC. I swear to God, I don't care about USC. You're just such a hater. You're just such a wild hater that you don't know what center field looks like. You're so far off in left or right field, you can't tell the difference between center and far.
Yeah. So who do you got here, Jared? Who are you picking?
Yeah, Utah lost to Florida, which at the time didn't look bad, but kind of looks bad in retrospect. Win some cupcakes, decimate Arizona State, decimate Oregon State. Then they turn around and lose to UCLA by 10 points last week.
It was worse than that. They scored a touchdown with 30 seconds left. They were down by 17 points.
Yeah. USC, on the other hand, defeats Washington State, which isn't anything impressive. Defeats Arizona State, so there's a common opponent. Doesn't look nearly as good in comparison to the final scores. They both played Oregon State, so there's another like. And once again, you have to note that Utah's point spread against both Oregon State and Arizona State is significantly favored towards Utah. And I mean significantly favored towards Utah. With that in mind, I do like Utah to win this game, and I'm gonna go ahead and eat the points as well. I do feel good that Utah wins. I'm a little bit nervous about the 3.5. But not so nervous that it's going to scare me off of Utah. I'm picking Utah.
All right. Sounds good. All right. That is all 7 games here. Penn State, Michigan, Alabama, Tennessee, NC State, Syracuse, Oklahoma State, TCU, Clemson, Florida State, Mississippi State, Kentucky, and USC and Utah. As Jared mentioned earlier, come join us over at discord.thesloopcast.com. We'll be chatting away all afternoon towards these games. For those who don't know what Discord is, it's just a big chat room with a bunch of channels in it. So you can find your place in there if you want to talk about the national college games, Ohio State, if you're into some other sports that's playing in the fall for some reason, there's a professional sports section in there for those who want to talk about that kind of badminton. Yes. Yeah. And if you really like it and you want to get some behind the scenes information, hit up patreon.thesloopcast.com, become a patron. And you get some behind the scenes information here, Jared. But yeah, Jared, you got anything in Jared's?
Why are you ending the episode? Don't we still have questions?
Oh no, I was on a rant there, so I was.
I know. I was letting you go.
I was just going.
I was letting you go.
All right. We'll do some questions here, and Austin has another set of over-unders, Jared.
We get twice the over-unders this week. We're spoiled.
I know we are. All right. He says Penn State, Michigan, Wolverine offensive touchdowns at 3.5. I'll say over. Oh, 3.5. That's a great number, actually. It's a great number. Actually, I'll go under. I'll go under the more I'm thinking about it, Austin. I'll stick with the under for 3.5 Michigan offensive touchdowns.
I'm going to go over, but I think it's 4. But I think like 5 is more likely than 3, which is sort of how I came to the decision to go over.
All right. NC State and Syracuse. NC State force Syracuse turnovers at 2.5. I'm going to say under.
I'm leaning under.
We talked about. About that. Yes, we know.
Yeah, we've been here the entire episode, Austin. I kind of feel like the one thing that is really forcing me to hesitate on this is that I feel like this is going to be a short game, by which, I mean, there aren't going to be a ton of plays. I think both these teams are very methodical. I think they'll run out the clock in a lot of ways. So I just don't know there'll be a ton of opportunity to get into that third territory area. So I'm going to go under. I think Syracuse throws 3 picks. It's possible. All things are possible.
All right. Hooker for the Alabama-Tennessee game. Hooker rushing yards over under 46.5. I really didn't look at the numbers for his rushing yards, to be honest. I really haven't. What does he do? So he has 45 rushing yards for 231 yards for the season. I'm going to say under for this game. I'm going to say under. Because really, what was the number again, Kyle? One game. It was only one game that he really went off rushing
against Florida.
I'm going to say under. Yeah, he has 41 game. Yeah, he has 41 a game, but his past 3 games, he has 24, 27, and 12. I'm going to say under.
Not his last 3.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm reading that wrong. I am reading that wrong. Now you got me thinking now. Yeah, I'm still going to stick under. I'm still going to stick with the under.
He's only gone over that number twice this year, barely against LSU, where he got 56, and then significantly over that against Florida, where he went 112. One could look at this and see that he might be running more, which he did have a bunch of attempts against Pittsburgh, but I don't remember. Maybe that means I don't remember, but it looks like he doesn't run the ball much against the Ball States and Arkansas, or not Akrons of the world, but seems to run a little bit more often against Pitt, Florida, LSU. But that also means getting those yards, and then the sacks come. I talked myself out of it. I'm going over. I was going to say under. I'm talking myself out of it. I'm going over.
All right. For the Oklahoma State TCU game, he has Oklahoma State total points scored 38.5 over.
Oklahoma State specifically at 38.5.
Over.
They use
41 shootout.
41 against Texas Tech, 36 against Baylor, 63 against some FCS opponent, 34 against Arizona State, and then a MAC school.
I'm still going to say over.
TCU, on the other hand, holding teams to the highest score against TCU was 34. Let's see. I'm gonna go under. I think this is a surprisingly not Big 12 game.
Interesting. Okay. All right. Clemson, Florida State, total game sacks by both sides at 4.5. I'm going to go over. I think both offensive lines are very prone to sacks here. I mean, we saw it in really look at the NC State game.
Yeah.
For both of them. Mentioned about how often NC State got into the backfield for against both of these teams here. I can easily see 4.5 sacks going over for both teams here.
Yeah. Is it? Wait a minute. It's a total? Is that the?
Yes.
Total
for both teams.
Yeah, I got it. I feel like Clemson might do that by themselves. I think Clemson is very flawed this year, but I think that they haven't all season. I mean, I'm exaggerating for a bit of effect, Austin. But I'm not impressed with Florida State's offensive line. And while this is a flawed Clemson team, a very flawed Clemson team, they do still have like good talent along the defensive line.
All right. Mississippi State and Kentucky. Kentucky passing touchdowns at 2.5.
At 2.5, specifically passing touchdowns. Let's see. They average under 4 touchdowns a game. Mississippi State averages exactly 3 touchdowns a game allowed. And we're talking total touchdowns, not passing touchdowns, and how those touchdowns come as far as them being a run or a pass can sometimes be pretty sporadic. So I'm going to go under here. I'm going to
go under too. In both SEC games, he's averaging 1.5 touchdowns against SEC opponents. So I will take the under.
Austin says it could be 4, but it could be 0. Yeah, I agree.
And last one, USC and Utah. Caleb Williams turnovers at 1.5. I'll go with under because I think, as what I mentioned earlier with USC. I think Caleb Williams will have his game here. So I'll say under.
You're
in this
showing your
game.
bias again, Austin. Because like you can think Caleb Williams is overrated. He's not that good. You can think he's overrated, but to say that he's stinks or that he's not that good is false. Is he in the top 5 quarterbacks in the country? No. Top 10? I would say absolutely. And see, you're showing your bias. There's no way he's not top 10 in the country. He might be top 20. You're being silly. You're being silly. That's the only way I can think to say it is that you're being silly.
All right.
You're being a silly Billy Goose. All
right, and we got some more questions here. We have another question from Austin here.
By the way, under.
If Tennessee beats Alabama, what would you say their percentage chances of making the playoff rises to?
I mean, like, let's take a look at Tennessee's schedule. I don't know what else. I don't know how else to answer this other than to pull up Tennessee's schedule.
So they do play Georgia still.
And potentially twice. If they beat Bama. They could potentially play Georgia twice.
Yeah, they may have to beat Alabama twice. So,
shit, that's right there. Yeah, my bad. East.
They may have to play Alabama twice, but yeah, I still say their chances rise, but I still think them trying to beat essentially Alabama twice and Georgia. No, they have to beat Georgia. Yeah, I'm going to say it's still low. I'm going to say low. So I'd probably give them a 15% chance.
I feel like that's generous.
Yes.
Like Kyle, how much of a percent chance do they have of winning this game against Alabama?
I would say maybe like, I mean, I have Tennessee to cover here, potentially winning. So
potentially winning.
Potentially winning. I'd say maybe like 35% chance to win it.
30. Okay, so let's say 35% chance. Now, independent of that, totally independent of that, what is their chance of beating Georgia when they play Georgia?
I'd probably give them like I don't know. Georgia's been very susceptible recently here.
They have.
I'd probably give them the well, I would say a little bit less because it is in Georgia here. It is in Athens. So I would say maybe about 25%.
I think that's generous, if I'm being honest. So 35%, 25%. Now, what percentage do they have to beat Alabama a second time? Let's just say it's 20. Let's just
go down to 15. Go down to 15% from there.
Well, no. In all honesty, though, is beating them twice 15%, or is beating them once and then once again? Because we're getting into like statistical theory BS here.
No, but just for that game, not
right
not total and all that. Just for that game, I would say like 15% chance.
Why 20% difference?
Because it's going to be at a neutral field and not at Tennessee.
Okay, that feels a little large. Okay. Like Neyland Stadium is a great stadium, don't get me wrong, but that it feels awfully weighted. Anyway,
right?
So 15%, 25%, and 35%. And then those are all independent of one another. And then we also have to just factor in like the 10, 15% that they are likely to lose other games. Like it just feels like a lot to overcome. So lower.
Okay.
I don't even, is it because the head is steaming?
Jared's thinking a lot.
Hold on. This is Austin's. He put together a list of quarterbacks to try and prove his point. By the way, like Thompson, Robinson, like I know where you got your bachelor's degree from and everything, Austin, but come on, man. That high, is this in order? Am I
no.
confusing him with?
He said no.
Oh, that's right. He's from UCLA. Crap. What's the Florida guy's name? Richardson, not Robinson. Richardson, not Robinson. That's right.
All right.
He's not on the list, nor should he be.
Oh yeah, we're talking about
Stroud, Young, Levis, Hooker, Leary, Thompson, Robinson, Martinez, Hartman, Daniels, Ewers.
Getting sidetracked here, Jared. So Tennessee.
Sorry, Austin.
So
I wanted to engage in that
I think-
argument with you, but Kyle wouldn't let me.
I think the question here. So I know about chances of Tennessee beating Alabama here. I think whatever happens in this game will get the AP coaches #1 poll after this game.
You think so?
I mean, you got two highly ranked undefeated SEC teams going at it. The winner will get the #1 spot.
Zero chance in hell they would toss Tennessee all the way up there. Zero chance in hell. Over Georgia.
Should that happen? No. Should that happen? No. But
You're being
will
silly.
it happen?
Now you're being the silly Billy.
All right. All right. And the last question we have here, Jared, from Nomad. Has Bert officially topped 300 pounds?
That's mean, and I'm not going to answer it. Yes.
All right. That is all the questions, Jared, we have.
If
for today's
Tennessee
SlooPick.
beats Bama, I think they move up to #3. That's at least plausible. I don't think they would jump them over Clemson or Michigan for that matter. I don't think they jump Clemson or Michigan to
I don't think Ohio State's going to jump Georgia in a bye week here.
Well, I think that maybe just be Austin's rankings.
Yeah,
I think
in your rankings, yes.
Also, Michigan might lose this week. Yeah, I mean they might,
Yep.
but we're just assuming they don't because you just assume they don't unless they do, right? That's how you fuck with polls. I like that I can say silly Billy and fuck with polls in the same episode, and no one would even blink an eye unless I said something. Yeah, that's it. That's our last game. That's our last question. Kyle.
Yes.
Hi.
Hi.
Everyone visit the sloopcast.com where you can find links to all of our other stuff. We have a highlights channel on TikTok and YouTube. You can find the YouTube one by going to shorts.youtube.com. Or you could just look us up on YouTube and we have a playlist that's filled with our highlights, or you can go to our TikTok page or our Instagram page. We post there too. What else? That's it. My brain's turning off. Kyle, do you have anything in Kyle's corner?
Not really. I kind of echo what said in the last episode. Don't plan weddings in the fall, please. I get to watch no games this weekend, and I'm a little disappointed from that. So I will be checking in our Discord at discord.thesloopcast.com for all my updates.
There you go. We have merch stores, by the way. You can go to 7071.thesloopcast.com where we have a bunch of Ohio-based merchandise. Oh no, that would be Ohio State based merchandise that Kyle's showing you. That you can find. You can find
Yes.
that sweatshirt at that Know Your Enemy sweatshirt with the M crossed out at that one's at merch.thesloopcast.com. That's at merch. That's actually the old version. That's our old school version.
I like that.
I like it too. I do like our new one a little bit more though. Aren't fall weddings curses? I mean, in my religion. Oh, yeah, that's it. Kyle, you did Kyle's corner, right? My brain's turning off. This is
Yes.
bad.
And-
My brain is turning off.
Hey, Jared.
Yeah.
It is time to end the episode.
It's time to end the episode. Tonight's ending music brought to you by a folk punk band from the Columbus area. They're called Two Cow Garage. That's TWOCOW Garage. My brain's turning off. I wasn't going to try and spell anything past 3 letters. So with all that being said, I'd like to encourage everyone to drink local beer, listen to local music, and of course, support your local podcasters. Once again, this is Two Cow Garage.